This begins with the safety of a new affordable housing. There are disagreements taking place at City Hall over stricter requirements.
The mayor vetoed a city council plan to update the city's electrical code. Stothard argues the proposed changes are unnecessary and would only add costs to the city. Brian Mastery joins us live from the newsroom now. Brian, what happened in the last hour? You've been watching this closely for us.
Well, Jacqueline, the city council failed to override the mayor's veto. They needed one more vote and didn't have it. Two of the council members explained that the back and forth on this topic of affordable housing, though, should help them get to a better final project. Now, some members of the city's home building industry said the proposed changes would set back affordable housing by driving up the cost, such as requiring whole house surge protectors. One expert said that if it's not required in our current existing homes, why would we require it in new construction? The state's newly adopted electrical code did not require whole house surge protectors either. Supporters of the stricter standards argued costs shouldn't matter when it comes to safety.
We're working hard to move forward with affordable housing ideas, and we have a lot of people in the community that are concerned about it. I still believe these carve-outs were appropriate.
We have a lot more work to be done there, regardless of this particular issue. I know Mr. Rowe agrees, and so I look forward to moving that issue forward very aggressively.
And just a few minutes later into the meeting, this council approved a plan to add 56 units of affordable housing to downtown Omaha. This is the area near the Flatiron building. Rent's expected to be between $700 and $900 per month. It's expected to be open in 10 months. Now remember, city experts say Omaha needs to add 30,000 units of affordable housing, but that is always a start. By the way, the city council still needs to update the Omaha electrical code in the next 60 days. I'm Brian Mastery, First Alert 6.
All right, thanks, Brian.